What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Bullets, Barbells, and Barbecue. Today it's just me and Tanner.
Again.
Yes, the lone survivors. Again.
Still unfortunate.
Yeah, it's still unfortunate, plus because there's video. So it makes it even more unfortunate for all parties involved.
Yeah, head-on video of me is not ideal.
Yeah. That fucking button never gets old.
My left side over here, that's my good side.
Yeah, to some people. Before we get started today, we're going to talk about some partnerships. Obviously, we obviously have Elite Nutrition, Omaha.com, Tanner store.
Yep.
With a discount code B3.
10% off.
Just the letter B and the number 3.
Free shipping over $50.
Worldwide. And if you walk in the store and yell B3, I believe you also get the discount.
You used to get 10% off. And if you actually did that, I will give you a free shaker.
Ooh, free shakers. Everybody remember that. Our other partner is Rosewood Block Company. They make, like I said, some of the coolest cutting boards in the barbecue game. Like I said, if you've seen Meat Church, Matt Pittman uses those all the time. I bought several of them. They do amazing work. We're trying to get one here for the podcast with our logo on it. So once we have that, we'll put a little display out of it. But that is also discount code B3, letter B, number 3 at checkout. And they'll give you a 10% discount also. And they also have the cleaning and storage oils and whatnots for your boards. So
okay, you keep saying cleaning and storage oils. Like what? But I'm going to get one. I'm going to get off the cheapness wagon here.
Yeah, you should.
Because like my plastic one, I don't think it's cutting it anymore.
I get it. It's not cutting it. I get it. I see what you did there.
I'm pretty punny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to stay anyway.
All right. So what if I do get one of these? Like, am I going to fuck it up if I don't read the directions?
No, and we started talking about it in one of the other podcasts, then we got sidetracked, I believe.
Usually.
Yeah. So like mine, like we talked about, I don't know if you're supposed to use soap necessarily on them. I use a little bit of soap just to get like, because you're cutting like raw meat. You know what I mean? Especially if you're cutting with like raw chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or any of that stuff on them. So I just rinse it real good with that. And then they have like a walrus oil they put on there, and they give you like a microfiber. I don't know if it comes with it or you buy it separate. They give you like a microfiber towel that you can use to like rub it in.
Okay.
And just let it absorb, and it just like brightens the board back up. Like I said, your board's not going to like fucking fall apart.
Well, you're cutting on it. It's not like...
And it's not like it's going to dry out and like fall apart, but you just want to, keep the board looking as nice as you can.
So it's not like super high maintenance.
No, it's not super high. Like I have...
Like you just rinse it off, put a little soap on it, clean it off, throw some walrus oil on it, and you're good. Shove it back in the...
A lot of people like set them out. Like I have one... I have like 3 of their boards.
Sit on your counters?
I have one down in my basement. It's a giant... It's their biggest one they make. It's their XL. It's a giant flag, has the Omaha Barbell logo on it.
Okay.
And then you can actually get handles. They're like boat cleat handles. Like, you use to tie a small boat off. That's what you can have for handles. It's 3 inches thick.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one's just down in my basement. And then we have another smaller one. It's really cool. It's a bunch of different end grain pieces of different colors of wood. And it just has our name on it. And that just sits in the kitchen kind of on the wall. And then I have the one I use. It's an American flag brisketeer. So it's the bigger one. You can fit a full packer brisket on there, like no matter how fucking big it is. That one doesn't have the boat cleat handles. It has like little handle grooves on it.
Okay.
And that one is the only one I actually like put away. But that one, I don't get it oiled every single time. And it's fine.
Perfect.
So, but yeah, check those guys out. rosewoodblock.com or Rosewood Block Company. They also have an Instagram. But yeah, the discount code is the letter B and the number 3. So yeah, we got that out of the way. Also, in case you don't listen till the end, always do us a favor if you love what we're doing. We try to educate and entertain as much as we can. But, share the show like Andy Frisella says. Don't be a hoe. Share the show. But subscribe and like it. We're on all the audio platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. So if you want to look at us or don't want to look at us, there's multiple ways.
I'm sure they want to look at us.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, we have a great setup. There's beautiful lighting. It really brings out my eyes. But yeah, but spread the word.
That shirt's bringing out your eyes today.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. As I left the house, I thought, because this is the Michigan-Nebraska game is today, and I thought, we're blue. It's a different color blue, though, so it's fine.
Right.
So, but we'll see how that goes anyway. But today we're going to talk about nutrition fads, diets, stupid diets, And this kind of came about. I was talking with a client yesterday, and she was reading a book, and it's talking about like different foods that, like different acids in your body and how they respond. And there's like so many stupid like diet trends, and nobody's reinventing the wheel, right? Like any trainer, anybody that's working out, like you're trying to make up some new fucking exercise. Nobody's doing something that hasn't been done before. You might modify it a little bit. Nobody's reinventing the wheel. Diets, like nobody's reinventing the wheel. I mean, it all comes down to calories in, calories out. Is the biggest, easiest thing I think to teach people to start with.
Well, it like Lane Norton talks about, it's energy balance. You're burning X amount of calories per day. So your intake either needs to be under that if you want to lose weight, even with that if you want to maintain, or above that if you want to gain. It's a math problem. It's not overly complicated. I tell people it's the simplest thing you'll ever do. That does not mean it's easy. Because there's so many very, very good tasting foods out there that can screw your life up. But it is the simplest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, I think the hardest part of a diet is the mental part.
Yeah.
It's just being able to do it, like to commit to doing it. Like it's, and I know some people struggle with this too, but going to the gym is to me the easy part. And I think probably an easier part for a lot of people than the diet part is.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think, well, I would say most people who are into it like to work out. Yeah. Like the working out part's the work. It takes you 45 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours. You feel accomplished afterwards.
And it's you said it's an hour or 2 hours, but then you're done. Whereas a diet is like all day, every day,
right?
For however long you're doing it, or if it's a lifestyle. And that's what I always try to tell people is like diets should be a lifestyle, not like a quick fad.
Well, that's exactly what we preach. When I do like nutrition coaching with people, we focus on, I build a plan for them that fits it within their lifestyle. If I gave you the best, most perfect nutrition plan ever, that would be guaranteed to work, but you won't do it, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, any diet I've made for like any client was always like, I want to make it something you enjoy. It's like your job. If you love your job, it's easy to get up and go to every day.
Yep.
If you like your diet plan or you like your workouts, it's easy. And that's why it shouldn't even be called a diet plan. It should be a lifestyle.
Yep.
And I think most people, if they could be 80%ers, are going to be successful. If you can eat clean 80% of the time, still foods you like, but clean 80% of the time, you're probably going to have more success than a lot of people are.
Yeah. And I would tend to agree with that. The real issue that I have found is one that if people have a bad choice. So like if I'm going through my day and donuts are, at work and I grab a donut, a lot of people's mentality ends up being, well, I just fucked my day up, so I'm going to eat like shit the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Right? If you just had a donut, just account for it. It's not that big of a deal. I think like a Krispy Kreme donut's like 240 calories or something. I mean, it's not like, it might be a little bit more than that, but it's not throwing you off.
Yeah, it's not like you had like some 10,000 calorie meal on accident.
On accident. And then the other thing, especially for guys, like for you and me, or people like our size, if we were to take a free day, that can be dangerous, right? Like you and I could each eat 10,000 calories in a day and not have to try that hard to do so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So if I'm trying to lose some weight and I'm on a 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit per day, losing a pound to 2 pounds a week. Like I said, there's 3,500 calories in a pound. I know I've said that here before. So 500 calorie deficit per day is 1 pound a week roughly. Well, if I'm doing that, I'm crushing it Monday through Friday or Sunday through Friday. And then Saturday, I decide to eat 10,000 calories. Well, I have just eliminated all the progress I made for that week.
Yeah, because it's not, I think people get it down into like too small of cycles sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the day. Like say you have a day, you have someone on a meal plan and they go over 1,000 calories that day.
Yep.
Whatever happens, their cat dies and they go on a bender. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They can make up for it in the week.
Yes, they
in
can.
the next week. But people look at, you have to remember it's the day, it's the week, it's the month, it's the year. You know what I mean? It's like training.
It's calories in versus calories out over a period of time.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's like training. I'm not gonna bench today and then automatically be stronger the next week.
Oh, I wish I worked that
but
way.
yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like And we all know the more advanced you get, and actually, training and diet is very similar in that. The leaner you are, the harder it is to lose weight.
Yes.
If you weigh like 600 pounds, like them bitches on TV, I don't understand how they don't lose weight. Well, I do. I understand how they don't, but it does get harder. You know what I mean? So it just takes more time and more effort to get to it. But for an average person, and I'm going to put it out here to be for real, like most people who are like, oh, I want to have a six pack, you don't. Because the amount of work it takes to get and maintain a six pack, you know, the whole six pack abs.
Yeah.
Unless you're genetically gifted, like some people genetically, but you don't really want to do that work.
People, the ideal meal plan for people is to get to your goal, right? Have a realistic goal, and to get there within the confines of your life. We all have, people have jobs and kids and, different lifestyles, work schedules overnight, like all kinds of crazy stuff, just working with it to get to that point, but also having a realistic goal. And I don't think a realistic goal for most people is six pack. And if it is, it's to touch that six pack, take your picture, and then live a lifestyle that probably maybe has you a 4-pack afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be like, never worked out and be like, I want to look like this girl or this guy who's like some kind of bodybuilder or Instagram, fitness influencer. You look at these people, the real ones that put a lot of time in. Like you look at like a huge one in the women's area, like a Dana Lynn Bailey. Like she's been doing this for like years and years. Like she can have like a cheat week and it's not going to modify her physique that much. You know what I mean?
She probably just get more veiny and like look better.
Yeah, and same with some of the guys. Some of the realistic bodybuilders that you might see or figure guys. I mean, those guys have been doing this for a long time.
Yep.
And that's even, I think, the problem too on the bodybuilding stuff is you see a lot of people out there that, oh, hey, I just did my first bodybuilding show or figure show, physique, and excuse me, I'm offering meal plans for anybody, and I'm like, most of those are not realistic meal plans.
Well, the problem that I find with most people who are new into weight training or into nutrition is that they think it's like a one size fits all.
Ooh, everybody, I tell people all the time, everyone's like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
I could give 10 people the same diet and get 10 different results.
So if you want to lose weight, we have already discussed you have to eat less calories than you intake,
yes.
right?
Eat less, move more.
Yep. If you want to get stronger, we need to lift weights. We need to do resistance training. Now, those are the simple basics that's true for everybody. However, how you get from point A to point B is different from everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a lot of, this goes back, we've talked about before too. I think having your blood work done at least like once a year, so you kind of know where you're at. You might be able to get some markers on that. Like maybe you have some kind of hormonal issues or, there could be all kinds of different issues that could be there based on like just things you could learn from a blood test. Now, do you need to get your blood checked like every month or every week? I don't think so. Some people do. I guess that's fine. And if you have just like absorbent amounts of money that you don't care to get rid of to constantly get your blood work done.
So my issue with some of these people who I think overly blood test is, especially with women's hormones change all the time. They change during the month, they change during the week, right? They're constantly changing. So when people are getting these tests done, I feel like a lot of times they're just chasing their tail because it's like you don't know what's happening, especially for women. It's another thing when women, as women get older if they've had kids and things like that, the one thing that I always talk to them about is don't compare yourself to pre-kids. Don't compare yourself to your 18-year-old or your 21-year-old self. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing for guys. I just think guys don't focus on some of that stuff as much. Some do, but just in general, they don't. But focus on being the best version of you today, right? Yeah. If you've had 2 or 3 kids, I'm sorry, your hips changed. That's biology. You that's not undoing. That's just the way it is.
And to an extent, that's almost like being like, well, in high school, I could eat, 3 Totino's pizzas, and that's all I would eat for the week, and then I never gained weight. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like, I used to be faster. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, as you get older, your body changes. Now, can we help slow down that change?
Yeah.
Sure, with with weight training and just overall like fitness level in general.
Yeah, and I do think that's where like supplements play a point. Like there are some things that we're just deficient in. As people age, like they stop producing collagen, in their early 30s usually. So and women have way more collagen receptors than men, so collagen is beneficial for women. Like there are things that we can do to help counteract that. The main thing that I think people have to do is really have realistic goals and then focus on what you are today, like not what you've ever been. Just like we all know the guy, right, who's 45, 50. Well, back in high school, I benched 425 pounds. Well, if your goal right now is to bench 425, that's probably not going to happen.
No, especially if you haven't done anything.
Yeah, like just because you were there at one point in time doesn't mean you're magically going to be there again.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to like talk about it, that's cool. But just to like think you're going to be right there and do it again. I mean, I just think there's a lot of misleading information out there. Like back, I was talking to that client about this diet book that they were reading, and it's about like different, of course, it's like the no artificial sweeteners and the, like stay away from grains and things like that. And she's just talking to me about this, and I told her, I was like, she's older, she's in her 60s, still competes in powerlifting, and I said, the thing is you got to do is like, you can read all this and try to learn something. I said, there's, nobody's reinventing the wheel, like we said, but you have to find a point in your nutrition, workout journey, whatever you want to call it, your life, just being happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just be happy with where you're at. I'm not saying like settle. I'm not saying that like, or I'm not saying don't strive to maybe lose some weight or get stronger, whatever you're trying to do, but like to pick up and change, and like health wise, like she has some cholesterol issue, but like nothing like, and some hormone issues, but that's like a lot of women do.
Yeah.
But like all these books are somebody's trying to write the next big thing. So somebody will read it. Like, like the Atkins diet. I mean, did it work? Or did it actually just more malnutrition people?
Well, okay. So intermittent fasting, that's been a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, intermittent fasting is really good for keeping you in a caloric deficit.
Sure.
Okay. So if you are only eating for 6 hours a day and you can only eat so much in those 6 hours, so you're going to be in a deficit more than likely. So it is good for some people to lose weight that way because they're monitoring how often they can eat or how many hours they can eat. So they're going to be in a caloric deficit. For that purpose, it is good, but it's not magic.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in a caloric deficit. Now they've done studies where if you and I are in the same caloric deficit, okay, and you're intermittent fasting and I'm eating all day, you and I are going to lose weight at the same rate because once again, it's calories in, calories out. Okay. Yeah. However, I'm going to tend to maintain or gain muscle and you're going to tend to lose muscle because at some point in time, you can only use so much protein for muscle protein synthesis at a time. We're going to absorb all the protein, but it's only so much is usable. So if you're taking all your protein intake in 6 hours, and I'm taking all my protein intake in 18 hours or 16 hours, like my
absorption is going to be better, or use of it.
The use of, like I said, you're going to absorb it, but the use of it, and I don't know what that number is, like 100%, like how much protein you're going to be able to absorb, but I do know the study says, and they've done it, that you're going to tend to lose muscle and I'm not. So I know there's something there.
Well, and it's kind of like the timing of nutrition too. Your pre and post workout. There's definitely, I think, some timing.
Yeah.
In what you take in after that. They used to call it your open window.
Your anabolic window.
Yeah. Of when to intake things for the best absorption. And things you can do there. And like I think with intermittent fasting, you could miss that because.
Yeah, because they want you to fast while working out.
And a lot of times you're not going to eat till after. So you've missed any of the pre-workout calories. Yep. Then you sit there and wonder like, well, I've lost strength and I'm not as strong. And 9 times out of 10, if you're losing weight, you're trying to lose weight, you're going to lose strength. 9 times out of 10.
Well, for the way most people do it, that is true.
Yeah.
But honestly, like there's absolutely no need to. I will tell you that if you're a very large guy and you do lose, like Eddie Hall is obviously not as strong as he used to be.
Sure.
Right. And
he knows that and he's accepted that.
Yeah, but that's an extreme. I think for most people who are just dealing within like a normal range, like they want to lose 20, 30 pounds, right? If we lose 20, 30 pounds and like you starve yourself and you take some freaking pill and you starve yourself for 3 months and you lose 20 pounds, you're going to lose strength, right? But if we set up a deficit for you to where you're losing a pound a week, okay, and that 20 pounds is now going to take you 5 months to lose, give or take. I think there's absolutely no reason to lose strength. You should be able to actually put on muscle and get stronger in that period of time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because at a 500 calorie deficit per day for, like, let's just say a guy, you still have enough food and you still have enough protein and you still have enough macronutrients to build. Like you're not in that starvation mode.
Sure.
So and that's another thing that we talk about is managing deficit. Like, I can put you on a severe deficit if you've ever seen Naked and Afraid.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. So 21 days and you eat a freaking lizard and drink some water. Yeah, you're going to lose weight. But look at their before and after pictures. They all look like melted candles. Yeah. So-and-so lost 30 pounds. It's all saggy. Like, no one wants to look like that. Yeah. You can starve yourself into losing weight.
Well, I mean, look at all those adopt this kid for 30 cents a day commercials. You know what I mean? Those have been around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you look at, like, I remember when The Biggest Loser came out, I was working at 24 Hour Fitness at the time, and they were the big sponsor of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was always on. All the TVs, that was like part of the deal. Like, all the TVs almost had to have them on there. And I even had a client that was like, I just want to, lose weight. Like, look how they're losing weight. And I'm like, these people are locked in a compound doing things for 8 hours a day with every meal monitored. But they don't teach them anything.
No.
Is most of those people, and there's been some, like, little documentary series about them, like, when they get done with those shows, most of them gain the weight, if not more.
Well, and that's what the first thing you said was lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. So my lifestyle, and 99% of people's lifestyle, is sometimes I have to run through Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Sometimes you're busy. Sometimes you don't get a meal in. Sometimes, you got shit going on.
Sometimes I have to run over to Panera. Sometimes I can't pack my food, or I forgot my food at home, or I just don't give a fuck for the day. And I'm just going to, so I have to learn how to make choices. And that's one thing I try and do is, like, at Panera, there is like a buffalo chicken baguette sandwich. Okay. I'm not saying it's my favorite sandwich on the menu. It tastes good. I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite thing. But it's 105 grams of carbs, 50 grams of protein, maybe a little bit more, and 19 grams of fat. It fits my numbers for lunch. So I just know that if I do forget, I walk over to Panera, I get my sandwich, and I move on for the day.
So where are you at? Like, obviously, I mean, I do with clients, I do like basic nutrition stuff. I don't get like super in depth in it. I do basic kind of lifestyle stuff, and I use some of like John Berardi stuff.
Okay.
Precision Nutrition, like I'm sure you've seen his stuff. I don't know where your thoughts or feelings are on his. John Berardi's a pretty smart dude, I feel like.
Yeah.
But where are you at on the, like, if it fits your macros? I know people have been really successful on if it fits your macros. I don't know if it's for everybody. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
So if it fits your macros, I mean, I guess that's kind of what, like.
Well, hold on. Should we give a breakdown for people who don't know what it is?
So if it fits your macros is basically eat whatever the hell you want. If it fits within the macros that you're allotted for the day, and you're going to be fine. What started happening years ago was that's when you saw all the Pop-Tarts before workouts.
And I still eat Pop-Tarts every morning. Not for that reason. I just love Pop-Tarts.
But you know what I mean? It's like all like the gummy bears and like, so if it fits your macros, works. Okay. If it fits within there for just weight loss. Okay. There was a Kansas State professor who did an 8-week meal plan where he drank 3 protein shakes a day. Okay. And the rest of his allotted macros he got from Hostess cakes. Okay. So all of his fat and all of his carbs he got from freaking Twinkies, Ding Dongs, and Ho-Hos.
That's a great day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be a great, like, for a day, but not for 8 weeks. It's probably miserable.
Yeah. And then the beatus you get afterwards.
Yeah. But during that 8 weeks, and it was just to prove a point that he lost weight, he put on muscle, lost fat, his blood pressure got better, and I think his cholesterol went down. Like, so now, to your point, he's not healthy, and he's going to be, there's all kinds of other things that are going to happen.
Sure.
Right. But as far as weight loss goes, it does come down to calories in, calories out, and following your macros. So if it fits your macros, is fine. The problem for most people that I think they kind of go overboard. I still believe that eating nutritious foods is better for you. Right? Eating as many single ingredient carbs throughout the day is better than eating a bunch of processed carbs. If you eat rice, if you eat potatoes, vegetables, fruits, like, I don't care about sugar and fruit. Sure, fruit has so much sugar. I promise you, America's problem is not eating too many apples. Okay, I promise you, it wasn't the strawberry influx that caused America's obesity.
Yeah.
Okay, so like some of those things like just drive me freaking crazy. But like eating nutritious foods is better. You'll fill up faster. I think what most people have a problem with is they go eat something shitty. So you've been to Dairy Queen,
Of course.
okay? After dinner, right? It's a dessert.
I mean, I've had it for dinner. Sometimes on Sundays I'll go to Cold Stone and we'll just have that for dinner. But actually, I talk about like a deficit on Sundays. A lot of times, Amber and I, we're like doing stuff, so we might only eat like twice on a Sunday,
Yeah.
just because we're doing stuff. So, is eating Cold Stone, is it our like best health option? No, but as far as calories, we're probably still way in a deficit.
Well, and to some people, especially like game days on Saturdays,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, okay, just wake up, drink a protein shake for lunch. I guarantee you, your tailgating, drinking ass will get all the carbs and fat that you need in while you're tailgating and afterwards.
And that's being like, and I like I've talked about, I like to do, and what you're saying, a realistic diet. You know what I mean? It's a way more realistic diet like that or lifestyle.
Yeah.
Then I see these people who are like, oh, I started working with this guy who was a bodybuilder, and I'm doing this diet, and I'm, like checking my blood sugar in the morning to know where my carb level should be at, and shit like that. And I'm like, you're never going to keep doing that. And no one wants to eat like fucking chicken and rice for every meal.
No. Besides,
one.
chicken is crap.
Like when I do, like I told you, I do like some basic, where Berardi's kind of set up for precision nutrition. The basic idea is kind of your carbs and protein in the morning and protein and fats at night, because your carbs are energy. It's kind of a brief synopsis, and it's probably not 100% on with his, but 80%. But that's his idea. Your carbs are more your energy throughout the day. At night, the fat will help keep you satiated, plus your proteins.
Yep.
And your only carbs at night are like from vegetables, basically.
Yeah, and I space out carbs all day.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people to do.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong either way.
Yeah.
And so, but like with that, when I make a meal plan for somebody, I'll just be like, okay, I want you to have like 4 to 6 ounces of meat. Well, whatever you want to eat.
Yep.
I don't want you to eat the same fucking thing every day and get tired of it.
Right.
I don't care if you have 6 ounces of steak or you have 6 ounces of, chicken, or I don't care. Change it up so you enjoy it.
Right.
And it's funny because most people will be like, oh, I don't want to eat the same thing every day. Okay. And I always talk about, like, what do you have for breakfast? Well, every day I have this. Usually most people are creatures of habit, especially during the work week. And then their big game changer is dinner at night with their family.
There's like some I can't remember the stat of 100%, but it's like the average person only eats like 19 different foods.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing crazy. And it's like, look at like wherever you live.
Yeah.
Amber and I'll run into this, like, hey, what do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. We could go here, or here, here. And you'll name like 3 places. And Omaha has like some of the most restaurants, like per cap. What they say you could eat, including dive bars, you could eat at a different place, like for every meal, and it would take you like 3 years or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
crazy, yeah.
But we're like, well, our options are like this, this, and this.
Yeah,
because it's all proximity.
Because you won't cross like a street.
Yeah, and it's all proximity, and everybody does the same thing.
Yeah.
Now it might be different, like you're planning to go out with some friends, and you'll go across wherever you're going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are creatures of habit way more than they know.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I think the problem with if it fits your macros for a lot of people is that when you eat processed foods, you don't get full, right? So if I go eat a Blizzard, like I've never gotten full eating a Blizzard. Okay. Like I just stopped eating it because it was gone. And if my kids had some left over, I'd probably eat theirs too. Right. But there's like 135 grams of carbs, all kinds of fat in that thing. Mm-hmm. Or when people say, oh, carbs are bad. Well, they associate things like donuts, cookies, cakes, frostings, things like that with carbs. Well, those are also a lot of fat. Fat has a lot of calories. So like for every gram of carb is 4 calories, every gram of protein is 4 calories, every gram of fat's 9. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think a lot of people...
alcohol 7, if anybody's wondering. Yes. Alcohol 7.
And a lot of times this alcohol won't even show up on your a lot of the tracking platforms because it's not a carb, fat, or protein. It's its own calorie.
It's like the sugar alcohol calorie or whatever they call it.
Yeah. So like I just don't think most people get full. So if it fits your macros, it gets sideways. They don't feel satiated. Right. And you're going to feel satiated. You're going to feel full if you're eating foods. To your point about carbs and like fat, like we have capacities to store carbs and fat. Like we have capacity, like for carbs, you're going to put them as your immediate energy. You're going to put them as glycogen, your stored quick energy. And then if you're a weight trained athlete, only like 1 to 2% of carbs can even store as fat. Like they're used up. Now fat can only store as fat in the body. Right. So to me, when I'm trying to lose, like if I'm trying to lose weight and maintain muscle mass, which I had to do for nationals and I'm having to do for my next competition, is I have to get to different weight classes, is that I'm still eating between 400 and 500 grams of carbs a day. I just keep my fat to like 80. And that can be hard, right? But my protein's like 260. So I make sure I get my protein and my carbs in. And watching that fat number can be hard. To your point, meat. Okay, eat whatever meat you want, but if I'm going to have beef tacos, I don't get to have sour cream, guac, and cheese.
Sure. And now, in the defense, you're trying to do something specific to watch your fat. Yeah. Overall, if we're just doing some basic diet stuff, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but still, like, it's still choices.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
When you have macros, like if you go to Chipotle and you get like whatever you think is healthy. By the way, steak has less fat in it than chicken at Chipotle. You get whatever you think is healthy, but if you get to the end and you put sour cream, cheese, and guac on your bowl,
sure.
You just added 20, 30 grams of fat to that.
Well, and that's like you said on the chicken part, and I think because everybody knows the best part of the chicken is the thighs, which is the fattiest part of the chicken.
Right.
If you want to eat chicken breasts all the time and trim them up, and they're not, you can make them good on a smoker. You do a good recipe on a smoker.
Yeah, but chicken thighs are better.
Because they're fatty.
Yeah.
Yeah, fat's flavor. Everybody knows that in the barbecue world. But yeah, otherwise you're going to have to eat breast meat all the time for your leanest meats or fish.
Right. Shrimp. So, like, let's just say
I can eat like 4,700 shrimp before I even feel full.
but like, let's just say I want to have guac and sour cream and cheese. Then my meat is shrimp or chicken.
Sure.
Right. If I'm having steak or hamburger, then I just pick one. Like, I throw a little cheese on there. I'm still happy. Like, I didn't miss anything. Put pico on there. It still tastes good. But those are some of the choices. And that I feel that people, like, as far as the lifestyle goes, like, you can make it a lifestyle. And that's what I try and do, is make it a lifestyle. But I try and tell people, like, let's just understand our choices. If you log your food in whatever logging app you're using before you eat it, before you put it in your mouth, then you can easily adjust it and make your choice instead of logging it. Instead of eating it, logging it, be like, well, fuck.
Yeah. Yes, put it all in there before you go in. I mean, there's plenty of good apps out there. Like, I know I've like messed around with MyFitnessPal for a long time because, it used to be way more free than it is now. And now they want to charge for different aspects of it. I get that too. And I know there's other ones out there.
We use Life-Based Solutions, but it's a subscription that you have to get through me.
Oh, sure.
So, but yes, whatever logging app you want to use, but you can just make those little choices, just like eggs. Eggs aren't bad for you, right? But if you're going to have 4 eggs in the morning, that's 20 grams of fat. You haven't done anything else. No sausage, no bacon, no cheese, nothing. That's 20 grams of fat. However, if you take 2 eggs, you get 10 grams of fat, and then just make up the protein with egg whites. If you're scrambling it up, I promise you probably won't even know a difference because you still have 2 yolks in there, right? It's not just egg whites. But then you can make that little choice to where, I can have some chicken sausage, or I can throw some cheese in this, or I can make a little omelet. And now we just kept our fat. We just saved 10 grams of fat. And by doing that, those are the little things you can do to manage within a lifestyle. Because I don't feel like that's changed. I feel like that's just giving you like an altered lifestyle, and not just like going from like eating everything to freaking being on keto. That's not like, I think we can tweak. Most people can just make little tweaks throughout their day that aren't big, that make huge differences. And I think I think most people, like, listen to most of the people you follow on Instagram, extreme. Liver King, extreme.
Drugs.
Most of these people,
$10,000
of HGH a month. But extreme, right? Like, common sense and just like basic stuff that will help you doesn't get a lot of clicks because it's not that exciting.
Yeah, that's anything on the social media is like.
Right.
Now, what do you do? I know, like, a question a lot of people have, and as far as like, even if it's your macros, what are you doing to determine your caloric intake and your macros?
So the first thing you have to do is figure out your basal metabolic rate. Okay.
And that's is that the 220 minus your age? Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's our heart rate thing. Nope. There used to be a whole formula for that, actually. Yeah.
Some people will lazily add a 0 to your weight.
Yep, I've heard that theory. It's a quick, easy theory.
It's quick and easy, right? Just like for protein, if you want to maintain muscle mass, or whatever weight you want to be at, that's about kind of the amount of protein you want to take. If I'm 240 and I want to be 260, I'm going to take 260, 280 of protein. If I'm 260 and I want to lose 20 pounds, I might take 240. Those are easy, right? Those are just quick, easy ways to do it. We use the InBody 570. It's the same machine the Mayo Clinic uses, and they tell you your basal metabolic rate on there based on your body composition. So that gives you a pretty good idea.
But for the commoners out there who don't have
Just
it,
add a 0.
to your,
Or come into the store.
so take your weight. If you weigh 250, add a 0, 2,500 calories is your
Basal metabolic rate.
yeah. There is a formula out on the interwebs if you really want to get into it.
There is, but you
But
have
here's
to.
where people run into the problem: is they'll ask you your activity levels. Put sedentary. Don't fucking lie to yourself.
Everyone is sedentary. The only
Yes.
two people that I put as non-sedentary when I'm figuring out people calories are floor nurses, not nurses who sit like not management nurses, floor nurses because they're putting in thousands and thousands of steps a day, or construction workers, and not the foreman, but the actual laborer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, most people, because the labor you are doing, your body is probably adapted to.
Yeah. So I'll put that in as non-sedentary, but like 99% of people I put in as sedentary. So then you have the thermic effect of food. So 10% of the calories that you eat, it takes to digest. So if you eat 2,000 calories a day, it takes your body 200 calories of energy to digest that. Okay. So you add those, the basal metabolic rate, thermic effect of food, NEAT. So NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is your movement. And honestly, the best thing that most people can do is freaking walk. Get steps in. Like, quit being a lazy ass and sitting and only getting 3,500 steps in a day. Like, if you can get 10,000 steps in a day, you will drastically lower your all-cause mortality. Someone who smokes versus someone who walks. So if you're a non-smoker and you get 4,000 steps in a day versus a smoker who gets 16,000 steps in a day, that smoker's healthier than you. They have a less chance of dying.
There you go, everybody. That's how you live.
Yeah.
Walk.
Walk.
Don't run though. Runners die all the time.
Walk, get your steps in a day. And like, we don't have, I mean, HIIT training is fun. Like, I did CrossFit for 4 years. It was fun. Like, some people really, yeah, I know. It was that dark place in my life.
Yeah.
I've come out of it. Now I walk around in a circle with that Conan's wheel for 18 seconds. I'm like, dude, I killed it.
Yeah. Way better.
Yeah, way better. But walk, get steps in. High intensity interval training, it can be fun for some people. And if you enjoy it, do whatever you enjoy. But for most people, just walk. You can walk on a treadmill, walk outside, get some fresh air, get some sun. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do for movement. And then the fourth way you burn calories is exercise. Okay. Now, I will tell you that if you have any kind of, like, I have an Apple Watch. Most of these watches, when it tells me my exercise calories, I take off 25%. Okay.
All right.
Like I feel that some of them are accurate, some of them are more accurate than others, but I feel like they're all a little generous. And I just take off 25% when I'm figuring things out. That gives me a pretty good number because when I'm really tracking, I have access to that machine on a daily basis. You know, I have access to the app, so I can log and track, and I know my workouts, and I know what, like, I'm tracking everything. And I 25% to me seems like a pretty fair number as far as calories go.
That's not
And then that gives you your burn for the day, right? And now you have to figure out, there's your burn for the day. Now log your food, everything. Log everything you drink, log everything you eat. Don't just eat a cookie and not log it, log it. Don't drink a beer and not log it, log it. Log everything. And then I tell people to weigh themselves on Friday mornings.
Friday mornings, right after you pee while you're naked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your best time. And what are my thoughts are, what are your thoughts on this? I've had clients who were like, well, I had some drinks this weekend and I threw up, so it doesn't count. You still have to count them. I still count the calories.
You're still counting.
Yeah, getting drunk and throwing up, it still counts.
You might be dehydrated and you might have lost some water weight.
Yeah. Yeah, and brush your teeth after you throw up too. Don't get your teeth rot.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah. But overall, I think...
When was the last time you drank enough to throw up?
It's been a little while. I haven't been that drunk for a long time. And that was because it was a bad night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
When
I'll put it this way. Amber was not soups impressed with me that night. So, I don't like, because I'm like, I feel like I was a better conditioned drinker in high school. But now, man, if I get drunk, I'm just like hungover for like 2 or 3 days. And Sunday's like the only day that I have off like the whole day. And like Amber and I to do stuff, and like just laying around feeling like shit does not like please me.
You know what's really funny is that, like, if you're a guy, and you have a significant other, you have a wife, and you get hammered, they're not impressed with you. Actually, you know what? When we're on vacation, Nicole says, like, you just do you, but she knows I drink. Like, you can't. I like to drink during the day. and you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Sure, yeah, especially in Nashville.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I time traveled in Nashville when I was there.
Yep, Matt
Did
did
not
that a
puke.
couple times too.
Yeah, I was like at a bar, and then I was like at our Airbnb.
See, I'm just so worried, especially on vacation, is I don't want to ruin a day feeling like shit. You know what I mean? You're paying to be there, and you know what I mean? So I'm always worried about like being hungover and feeling like dog shit the next day.
See, for me, if I sleep, like if I sleep and I don't have to wake up, right? Like I can just wake up when I want to wake up. I like am very, very rarely hungover.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel bad. I wake up and I'm fine. Now, like if I had to like wake up and go like function at like 7 o'clock in the morning, that could be a problem.
Yeah. No, I would. I just have I get a good buzz going, and I call that good.
But if Amber were to get that hammered, you'd be like taking care of her.
Well, and Amber will take care of me. I mean, like,
She took care of you. She was just like talking shit to you the next day.
yeah, she wasn't impressed the next day when I was like, just like dry heaving stomach bile up. Because I told her, but that was my fault because I told her it was for a childhood friend of mine's bachelor party,
Okay.
and she was like, "Well, do you want me to take you and pick you up?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "It's probably gonna be fucking lame, whatever. Like, I'm not worried about it." So she was more mad that I got super hammered, and I told her I wasn't going to get like super hammered, and then I drove home.
Yeah.
Yeah, public
Nicole-
service announcement: don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got home and just like sat on the couch, like just drunk, like I didn't know who she was. That was where I really lost that battle.
Yeah.
So she was not impressed. She went to do something. She's like, "I'm gonna go do whatever," and she's like, "When I come back, like you basically better like have your shit together, so we can go do some errands." Because, like I said, it's our only day to hang out. A full day is on like Sundays a lot of times. So I'm like, I'm not trying to waste the whole day.
Yeah. Nicole does take care of me if I drink too much.
I got drunk down at the Ozarks, and she helped me get up and put my CPAP on, and then I fell asleep, and I felt great like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you do throw up drinking, it still counts.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I think just like a lot of the fad diets, it's just
Well, and
and just the big thing is admit to yourself, be honest with yourself. Are you going to do some extreme diet?
and so I don't know what it is. Like, why are people so fucking crazy when it comes to this?
Because because you know why. As soon as remember like Fen or ephedra and all this other shit, or which one, I can't remember ephedra or ephedrine, whichever one.
Ephedra.
Yeah, any quick. I mean, it's even worse now, but like in the 80s, 90s, it's how fast can I lose weight?
No, but people will do these like crazy fucking diets. Like I know a guy who's doing some freaking diet through like the hospital or something, and you eat like a meal that's like, I don't know, 300 calories like 3 times a day. Take a freaking pill.
Oh, is that the HCG thing?
I have no idea what it is. I can't really have a discussion because I'm probably gonna be offensive.
Oh, okay, I get that.
So I just decide not to talk. But like they'll go through these extremes, right? And then as soon as you stop, all of that weight's coming back on and more, right? But I can't get them or him or any like some people do this. Can we just like cut some bullshit out during the week and move? You know what I mean? Like there's something wired in the human psyche that the harder it is and the more fucked up I have to feel and the more pain I have to go through, the better it has to be.
Because it's the biggest results in the shortest amount of time.
But they're so temporary. It's like,
Well, yeah, but nobody's looking long game. Everybody's looking first quarter.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's where I think, like I said, you see a lot of these bodybuilder. I mean, that's no different in powerlifting. You have somebody who competed at a meet and now they're a coach.
yeah.
But same thing, like do these diets. Like most bodybuilding diets are not long-term diets.
No, they're not. And yeah,
And good for those guys. The guys who do bodybuilding, that is a mental game that I do not want to play.
but to talk to a bodybuilder and they're probably the unhealthiest they've ever been when they're on stage.
Yes. I mean, your body overall is not in the right place. But especially with women, then they run into like thyroid issues, especially if they've got any kind of the thyroid. They're doing any kind of drugs that affect that.
Yep.
And it's not worth it. And just because you're fat doesn't mean, it can just be that you're lazy. It doesn't have to be some kind of problem.
Well,
And some people really do have a problem though too. And that's the thing you got to figure out.
but even if you have an issue, okay, to where you have something going on with the thyroid or something going on with whatever else, even if you have that, all you have to do is figure out where your calorie burn is per day, right? And then be under that. Like you still are burning calories. It doesn't stop you from burning. It may slow it down 10%. It may slow it down 20. I think it can slow. I think like a hypothyroid can slow your calorie like burn down like 20%. So even 20%, take 20% off and then start from there. Like it's still doable. Like you don't have to give into it.
Sure.
And as you build muscle and you start getting these better habits, you're going to increase your metabolism just by working out, just by building muscle, just by being active, just by getting steps. If you put better foods in your body, and you manage your calories and your macros, you're going to feel better. Like not every successful diet ends up with, like you said, as with a six pack, right? Sometimes it just ends up with you lost 40 pounds and you can move and you can play with your kids or grandkids and you can go to worlds of fun and actually walk instead of having to be the guy who sits on the bench and waits for everyone else to come back and say hi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of it is just, like I said, it's a lifestyle thing. Like, do you want to have just a better lifestyle?
Yeah.
And I think maybe we've talked about it before. I think that most people doing a diet or a lifestyle nutrition plan, I want to keep using the word diet because I think diet is kind of a false.
Yeah.
It should be a lifestyle, but you need to find a range that you want to weigh, not an exact number. Like we've talked about this before. You fluctuate. Men, women, whatever. I think men can swing a lot more weight in a day than women can.
Absolutely.
You know, so like I always tell women, like find like a 5 to 6 pound range that you want to be in. You know, like say you're like, hey, I want to weigh 130. Okay. So, but maybe you're okay with being like 130 to 135 or 136. So, and we've talked about this example before, but I'll give it again. You know, it's like you have a friend coming to town and, your weight's at like 132. You're like, well, okay, well, we can have a good time, tear it up a little bit and I'll be fine. But if you're like 136, maybe you're like, okay, I probably shouldn't like go fucking crazy when we go out.
Right.
To eat. And just play that swing. But if you have a set number in your head, you will never be happy.
Well, and I also feel like you've probably tried to get bigger before.
Yeah.
I mean, I have.
And there's not a ton of great ways to gain clean weight.
There are, once again, it all
Especially
comes down,
in a drug-free world.
Right. It all comes down to it's slow.
It is slow.
Yeah, it's slow.
If you're someone who's trying to gain weight, you're going to put on some, what we always call dirty weight, but you're going to put on some body fat.
What you're trying to do is, let's just say you're 12% body fat and you're trying to gain weight. You can gain fat and muscle at the same percentage at 12%. So if you put on weight, you're going to put on, but if you can maintain 12%, you're putting on clean.
Yeah.
If you get up to 16%, you're putting it on dirty.
Yeah.
But I think that every single time you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, you have these like little plateaus. So let's just say I'm trying to cut up a little bit, right? So I go 240 right now. That was there for a while, right? And then all of a sudden I kept doing it, and now I'm 235. Well, once I get my body set at 235, it's going to be in that range.
Yeah, your body builds a set point.
Your body builds a set point. But if I get to 235 and I say, oh, well, fuck, I'm doing awesome, and I just fuck around, I'm going right back to 240.
Yeah.
Like I have to get reset. You have like going up, going down. You have these chunks of loss, and then sometimes it's just you need a few weeks to set yourself there, right? And then your body like goes at it. And I don't know what the science is behind that. I don't know why it just because you can be doing the same things.
I mean, your body's built to survive.
Yeah.
That is what its sole purpose is to survive.
But it was the same way when I was trying to put on weight. Like I would get up to, I was like 210, and I'd get up to like 215. I'd be like, yeah. And then the next, and then I would get off my food for a few days and I'm back to 210.
Yeah, it took me a while, and then it really took off.
You have really achieved that.
Yeah, it took me like a long time, because I was 220 for the long time.
Yep.
And then I went to like 240, and then I was at 250, and then like 275, and then I got up to like 292 for a little while. Then I was like, that's too much.
Yeah.
So I need to come down. Now I hang around like probably 280, 283.
But you're comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I'd be fine going down to like 270 or 275. Yeah.
But like it's not, you don't have to race down there. You're just like, okay, well, instead of going to Culver's, it could literally be that one.
Yeah, I just, and
it doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah. So but
because you eat most of the time when I come in here, you eat fairly healthy. You're eating like stuff that you've cooked at home.
Yeah, that's why I would say I'm like Amber and I are like 80%ers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We probably clean 80% of the time, and then the other 20% we kind of either probably undereat on like a weekend where we don't get enough food in, or we just like don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But it's also like we're like not going off the rails, but we might be like might go to Culver's and then later on go to fucking Cold Stone.
Yeah. And I don't know. So sometimes when you're in a deficit, like there was the other night I ate, like we were at a softball game and Nicole packed like 8 sandwiches, 2 for everybody. And I ate like 6 of them because I was just in that bottomless pit.
Yeah.
Like I just could not get full.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway from like everything today is dieting does not have to be, lifestyle, eating, nutrition does not have to be crazy. Like you don't even, not one time in any of the things that you've said you've done with people, nor have we said to like, stop eating this or stop eating that. Don't have things like when I was talking to my client about that book, like the artificial sweeteners in it. I'm like, nowhere does it say don't eat an artificial sweetener, like because a lot of supplements have artificial sweeteners.
They all do.
You know what I mean? and I laughed part of it when I was talking to her. And I said, "Oh, it's always so funny. They'll be like, well, we think artificial sweeteners are causing this or that." I'm like, okay. They'll talk about like because nobody really knows what causes like Alzheimer's.
Right.
So they're always trying to come up with fucking something, which I appreciate the research, right? My grandpa died with Alzheimer's. My grandma had dementia. Okay, so what was your excuse when my grandpa got it? My grandpa, lived into his 80s.
He probably never had artificial sweetener.
Well, and they were meat and potatoes farmers, like my grandma made bread,
Yeah.
So what's your excuse then? Oh, it's probably a chemical they had on the field or, you know what I mean? Or something, or drinking well water or whatever the fuck it is. I'm not saying they shouldn't research these things, but these people writing these fucking books that are constantly like, oh, well, this is causing this or this is causing this. I think the easiest thing is just like pick a healthy lifestyle that you like, work out to keep your body right. And like my mom is worried that she's going to get Alzheimer's. Obviously, I mean, it was her side of the family. She does things to strengthen the mind muscle. That's always a joke, but like she does like Sudoku and she does things. I think the other part is a lot of times as people get older, they stop using their brains.
Yep.
For basic things. And my mom will play the motherfuckers that have like one number in the Sudoku. And I've ever played that. That shit is hard. We were on the flight one time and I'm playing like
easy,
the Down syndrome version. You know what I mean? That has like everything in the box. And she's over there like just has the one number in the box playing it.
And then she figures it out.
Yeah. But it's, it's said, what is that in dodgeball? I like to strengthen the mind muscle. And he's reading the encyclopedia or whatever, dictionary. But yeah, same idea. Still use your brains. And I think that will help a lot.
Well, it's just like to use your body.
And I don't think, as we get older, people are like, oh, our memory goes to shit. I think more things are going on in our daily life that we forget about things. Like when I was younger, I could remember everything, but I didn't have shit going on. Now, you know what I mean? Like I will forget things, but it's like, cause I have like 47 other things to remember. I don't think because you get older, your brain function has to go down.
No. And so it's a little joke. If I don't put it in my phone, it doesn't get done.
Oh, dude, I'm bad. Like people ask like about like, hey, do you and Amber want to do this? I was like, bro, you got to text Amber. Like she has our social calendar. I just keep this shit show here going because I have my clients in there and that's about all I got going.
At any point in time, like I could have 10 alarms set in my phone because I just set them and I snooze them until I complete the task. I understand that I'm a procrastinator and I forget things.
See, I'm a big calendar user because of my clients and stuff, so I always have to put stuff in my calendar on my phone. And sometimes I'll still forget it.
The problem is when it pops in the calendar, it only like pops up once.
Yeah, see, and I look at my calendar a lot during the day because I'll be like, when's my next appointment?
Yeah.
Or who's coming?
So I put alarms in. So it's really annoying for those of you who have to be around me very often.
That's all right. But yeah, I think life doesn't have to be super hard. Number one, just fucking, first of all, people need to remember, especially nowadays, everything's so fast paced. It's not hard to enjoy life. Just have a fucking good time with life. Like it's not hard.
No, it's fun.
I mean, and no matter where you're at, it could always be worse.
I mean, how much fun do all of us have in here working out?
Yeah. I mean, think about all the great conversation, just in general, the average person. I mean, just throughout your day, you might have one bad or upsetting thing, but the rest of it was probably pretty fucking solid.
Yeah. So don't focus on that one dick.
Yeah.
Who cut you off.
Yeah. And enjoy it. And, don't do some meal plan or some crash diet that makes you feel like a bag of smashed assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like find a diet but be realistic. Be like, oh, don't do the, what was that guy that ate McDonald's every day and lost weight? Remember that one?
He did not lose weight.
The guy that did supersize, well, not the supersize me guy. Well, no, later on, didn't he do another one where he ate McDonald's every day, but he lost weight?
Well, and that's possible.
But again, he wasn't healthy, but he
Yeah.
lost weight, you know, and whatever. But you know, find a realistic. Go talk to someone like Tanner, or go, you know, talk to a nutritionist. And like sometimes I think hospital nutritionists are a little sketchy.
I'm gonna just sit here and not talk about that.
Yeah. It's kind of like finding a doctor. Find a doctor or nutritionist that has similar views and hobbies that you do.
Yes.
I feel like is the best way to go. Like, I was lucky to find a cool doctor here that I got referred by a friend that he does some powerlifting, he does weightlifting. So he knows, you know what I mean? He'll look at something and be like, oh, hey, this number's up a little bit, but you know, if you've been training heavy, like it's going to be up, you know. But find somebody, you know, or a dietitian who like did some kind of, like if you're a competitive cyclist, find a dietitian that's like at least competitive in something.
Right.
Same thing like you know, we've had Mark and Claire on here that are physical therapists, but they both are like active and like, you know, Mark still lifts, Claire's power lifts, you know, and competes. So they know these people coming in. They're not like,
If you go, if you're an athlete and you go in and you see Mark or Claire, they're going to treat you like an athlete.
Yeah.
Because they're athletes. They understand.
yeah. It's like back in the day. I feel like I would have liked a doctor that smoked because, you know, like he didn't really give a fuck. He's just going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's not going to be like, you shouldn't be doing this. He'd probably just smoke and be like, what you should do is cut back a little bit on that. like when they could smoke in the office. That's
Yeah.
the guy you want to see.
Like when you have pictures of like when like your mom gave birth and there's an ashtray sitting on the table.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. But yeah, enjoy life. Find, you know, figure out a realistic one, a realistic lifestyle.
And make it a lifestyle.
And make it a lifestyle. It's-
Most people aren't trying to get on stage, right?
And-
if you're gonna be a bodybuilder, you're gonna have to do extremes,
Yeah.
right? But for most of us, they're not trying to get on stage. We're just
You know,
trying
it's
to
no
be
different
healthy.
than the extreme training that they're going to do as a bodybuilder or
Right.
even in powerlifting. Like, dude, powerlifters aren't taking, you know, well, some are, but you're not taking, you know, new PRs every day.
Yeah.
You know, you're not putting your body through that. You're programming for that, just like a diet. You're
Do you remember when you first started and you did have like a new PR every day?
yeah, but that's when you have like Gumby joints.
I know, but those were the days. Like every day you walk in to set a PR, you set it. You're like, yeah. Crushed it.
I know,
I haven't set a freaking like bench PR in like a year.
I would text Amber and let her know.
Oh, and you're talking shit to me about my sending my mom videos.
Here's the
of things?
difference. I didn't announce to the gym that I was doing a PR like you do. Hey, Brett, come look at this.
Well, I need visual.
Yeah.
I need you to know.
You have a camera phone. I didn't even have camera phones then.
Yeah.
I might have. I don't know if I had a camera.
What
That was
I
probably a
did on my
shitty-
dip? Was it like 200 and some pounds?
I don't know. Your mom probably has the
200
video. So she probably
Yeah.
actually your mom probably deleted. I didn't even know your mom. She probably deleted the video though.
I'm listening. I probably posted it somewhere.
I'm sure on a blurry camera. But no, enjoy that. But do some research. Do more research instead of reading like a book that's some fad thing. Do a research on maybe a dietitian or nutritionist or nutrition shop like Lean Nutrition Omaha, like that can help you out and be realistic about it. Like,
Talk to people you know and trust.
yeah, ask them what they think, and then you know what? Like here's the thing is, people only think someone's an asshole when they tell them something they don't want to hear.
Right.
But if someone's telling you the truth, they're not an asshole.
Isn't it just funny when you've been telling, this happens all the time, happens with married couples all the time. Like you're saying something, right? Your wife's telling you something and you're like, oh, whatever. And then someone else that you have no idea who they are, like someone else put on the internet or Instagram the same thing. And you're like, oh, look at this. Like I have been saying that for the last 6 months.
Yeah, you see that a lot with like
With everything.
I'll see it with people here in the gym. I mean, I'm sure you see it. I see it more with that. Like, you know, we talk about some exercise and then they'll be like, oh, hey, I saw so-and-so. And I was like, yeah, yep, totally did.
That's the same thing I told you 2 months ago, remember?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't, like, I feel like we take granted for the experts we have around us.
Well, I think it was John Hansen one time that told me you'll never be a black belt in your own town.
Right.
You know what I mean? You'll go outside, and we've all done it at some point. You know what I mean? We've all asked someone like I remember when Big Iron was here, when Rick Hussey was still alive. I followed Westside.
Yep.
You know, and I would call Louie and talk to him on the phone, like.
And you had someone in your backyard.
Yeah, and so we were all guilty of it. You know what I mean? But just ask around, especially like if you're in a real small town, it's probably hard sometimes to find someone. But most people in small towns are close to a city. They could go and at least get some knowledge from.
Yep.
But take a little time, and just think of every giant fad out there. There's an opposite. It was like, what's that? Forks, spoons, not knives, or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Forks over
or that anti-meat documentary, basically. Then they're like 2 weeks later, there's a documentary that speaks the exact opposite of that. Like,
right.
And just remember, you aren't the person next to you. Everyone is a fingerprint. Everyone's different. Even when you start a diet with people, I'm sure whenever Tanner sets up a nutrition plan with somebody, or I do, I always tell people, run it for a couple of weeks and then we'll make adjustments.
Exactly.
Because
Every
everybody's
single
different.
time.
You can almost basically start everyone on the exact same meal plan, then adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know how people are going to respond.
Right. And all these numbers that I was talking about, they're all fluid, right? There's not, like, just because the machine says your basal metabolic rate is something doesn't necessarily mean it is. It just gives me an idea of where to start.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's the coaching over time that allows me to dial it in.
Yeah. And then you start to learn that person, like, do they maybe fudge their numbers a little bit? Like, or do they not really eat all their food? Are they not following? Are they skipping this meal? Are they doing, it's a learning curve for everybody, but just be patient with that stuff. But make it a lifestyle. Like I said, it's like a job that you like.
Well, and it's just like lifting. Like, not everyone's the same. Like, Ron is a freaking amazing bencher. Most people can't bench like Ron.
Yeah.
Most people can't. They can't be that narrow. I mean, I'm a narrow because I have shitty shoulders, but most people can't do that.
Yeah, there's always going to be anomalies out there. There's going to be people who are just more gifted in certain things.
Yeah. And on the internet, it drives me nuts when you see like these genetic freaks or people like Liver King who are doing HGH. Like, a lot of the stuff Liver King said was valid. Get sun, get steps, eat organ meat. Like, those are all valid things, right? But
The extreme drug use
also helps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. If someone looks like Liver King, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. And if you think I am, then you're just delusional.
Yeah.
If you see someone that it looks like that, there is a super high percentage that they are on drugs. That is fine. I don't care.
No, I don't care.
But
Like,
don't lie to people.
I knew.
Even like Rogan, when Rogan called out The Rock.
Yeah.
Just be honest, dude. You're like 50 years old and you're fucking enormous. You are on some kind of, I don't care if it's TRT. Just be honest. You are on some kind of drugs.
Well, RFK.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing push-ups and pull-ups and stuff, and I'm like, and I know he's on TRT, and then but he just comes out and says it.
Yeah.
We all know that does not mean all the work you're doing didn't count.
Yeah, it's not all for naught. Like, you're still
like, you can't, like, if you're on TRT, there's a plenty of people who are 69 years old who are on TRT that aren't in the shape of RFK.
Yes.
Right. There are plenty of people who are on TRT that aren't in the shape of The Rock. There are plenty of people who have done tons of steroids that don't look like Liver King. Like, it still takes work and it still takes dedication. It's still, so it, like, everything they say it's not negated because they're doing something.
Yeah.
Like, you still have to put all the work in and they can still have good points. It's just sometimes when, like, oh, I've been on like freaking keto and I have like freaking, like, that's not the norm.
Yeah. What's that? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not everything has to be
I feel like
stupid.
that's an old person saying.
It is.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. But do a little research. Like we talked about a long time ago in I think our first podcast, I talked about the common denominator. Read more than one thing. Or what, and there's a lot of people talk about, read 10 pages a day to help, I think that me personally, I think you can also watch things a day. You can learn from watching. If you don't like to read like I don't, because I just fall asleep, you can listen to a lot of things like this great podcast we're doing.
Yes.
But like listen to multiple things or watch multiple videos and see what the common denominator is like. And then you can take that.
That's actually really good advice.
Take that information.
Because there's going to be overlap in everything.
Yes, everyone will overlap.
And focus on that overlap. And then you can look at the things that fall, like the outlying parts of what they're saying.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
I mean, it's kind of like society.
Yeah.
If you would watch more than one channel and take the what's in the middle, you're probably going to have a good idea of what's really going on in the world. But I think that's a good place to end on with that. Do some research, but don't make everything more complicated than it needs to be.
No.
Life does not need to be that hard, and just have fun with it.
Like I said, weight loss or weight gain, simplest thing you'll ever do. Does not mean it's easy.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're in the Omaha area and you need a place to go, obviously go check out Tanner at Elite Nutrition, 177th and Center.
Yep.
right by Super Target out there.
If you need a place to work out, the Mecca.
Yeah, the real Midwest Mecca, Omaha Barbell. We're off 90th and Allen Harlan, or in Omaha. I can talk about the whole town. And actually, right out by Tanner is Core Physical Therapy.
Yeah.
So if you get fucked up, go see those guys, Mark and Claire, out there across the street.
And I've been out there, and they're great. I mean,
Yeah.
they will treat you like an athlete.
Yeah. So if you're looking for overall health and body,
And even if you're not an athlete, they're not going to make you. You know, I've
I've
they're just
seen all
really
kinds
good
of
at what
people
they do. But a lot of times when you're doing like powerlifting, your general practice doctor who doesn't lift is like, that stuff's so bad for you. You're going to hurt. No, well, you know what? I could sit and hurt myself. Like,
yeah. Yeah. So overall, if you're going for a total body wellness, there's some great places, like I said, and any of those places are great to check out.
yep.
Other than that, again, like, subscribe, share the show. We appreciate you guys out there, and we'll see you next time.